What is going on, Teach Better family? It's Jeff and Dave. It is Wednesday. It's 5 o'clock Eastern time, which means it's time for your brain break. We're ready to go. We have new design here, looking good. Thanks to Ray and the team for making us look just a little bit better today. Dave says he has a quote-unquote rough agenda.
Yeah.
And that's better than we normally do. So we'll be back in about 60 seconds and hang out with us and have some fun. I'm fancy today.
Look at you. Yeah, you are.
A little Pinot Grigio. Yeah, it's good too.
Wow, and you even got like buttons on your shirt or something too, don't you?
Yeah, I put a polo on too. Yeah, it's crazy.
Goodness.
I don't have any pants on, but I got a polo on.
Oh, wow.
I've got shorts on.
Okay. Whew.
I've got shorts on. What's going on, Nikki? Good to see you. Katie, I get to hang out with Katie right after this, by the way. Just
What?
saying.
Oh,
Just
my
saying,
goodness.
you and I, people should be jealous because I get to hang out with Katie right after this, and then you get to hang out with Caitlin in
Yes,
about an
I do.
hour after this. So,
Yes, I do.
and even more so, Becky Schnexer's here. So celebrations all around. What's up, dude? All right, so I need to know about this rough agenda.
It is rough.
Now,
It's rough.
first,
My rough agenda, we've already surpassed everything on my agenda. The agenda was we'll say hi and then you'll hit the promo music. That's what I had on for my notes.
well, check it all out because it's good. It's good to go. We are good to go. Hi, Jillian. Good to see you. I'd love to see anyone who is hanging out with us right now. If you can drop in the chat and let us know one where you're at. What are you taking a break from? And I'd love to know, by show of green hearts, were you with us during the 12-hour live this past Saturday? Because, Dave, I don't know if you remember or not.
One heart for every hour you were with us. How's that?
Ooh, I like that. One heart for every hour that you were with us on Saturday. Don't lie. Just saying. What's up, Bobby? Danielle's here. Good to see you. Megan's in the house. So Megan and Andrea got to see Chad yesterday. Did you see that?
I saw that. Talk about I'm not sure who I was more jealous of because those are three amazingly awesome people and they were all in one big picture together.
Yeah, I don't know what to do there. And then the ambassadors got to hang out with Chad last night, and there was lots of talk in the Ambassador Voxer group that there was dreams of grids, which I love. So that's good to hear. It looks like Megan said 3. Candace is. I'm not counting those. Dave, you can count those. I think that's all day. Katie, that should be 12. I hope. Lindsay's in the house. What's up, Lindsay? Nikki was that and a half. So whatever that number is. Becky's still trying to figure out what's going on. I love that Danielle's in her classroom because it's still pretty early for Danielle. It's still in the middle of the afternoon. Danielle had us all day long. And I don't know, Danielle, I was wondering if he took us anywhere to eat or anything like that. So I also did not bring up our private group. So I don't know who this is. And I apologize. I'm not doing my job today. So Dave's going to do that. But they are so glad that we're helping them take a break from grad school finals. Wow, I'm glad.
I got so much.
I'm glad you're taking a break too. Bobby is writing a blog. When are you two visit? We're working on it, Megan. We're working on it. Okay, we're getting there.
Is this the invitation that we've been waiting for?
I think it is, Dave. I think today's the day. Today is the day. Oh, look, it's Alex. Good to see you, Alex. Okay, seriously, did you have anything else on your rough agenda, or was it just?
I've got some games, but I do want to hear a little bit more about. Are you recovered from the 12-hour? I want to know how.
So here's a couple of things happened on Sunday. One, Ray and I spoke to each other way too much, and I said,
Sunday
"Hey,
or Saturday."
On Sunday."
Okay, Sunday.
The day after, and I said, "Hey, new rule: no more planning anything that's going to cause Jeff and Ray to have to speak to each other on the day after a 12-hour live, if that day is a Sunday." Typically, when we've done 12-hour lives in the past, like on weekdays, like the next day, like we plan a meeting nice and early so that like we have to get up. But no, that was good. I actually got up pretty early Sunday. I did a bunch of work around the house, ran around a little bit, got a nice bike ride in and stuff. So like I had a good day. I recovered pretty quickly. The thing is, like, I didn't do much Saturday. Like, I was only on camera for like 3.5 hours, which is only a little bit more than I'm on camera today. Like,
Uh-huh.
it
And that's
wasn't.
so that's all you did. So when you weren't on camera, you just sat around eating Cheetos.
Well, I mean, I was around the whole time, so I felt like that. But like, it was really. I said multiple times throughout the day, I'm like, well, this is really cool because it was Ray and myself and Katie that ran everything on the back end. I'm like, Ray and I did it in the before, which was nice and worked well. It was just something about having a third person was really great, especially Katie, who was like eager to do stuff. So eventually, we're just like, how about you just do it all? We'll just be on camera when we're on camera, and she did. So that's kind of fun. So it really just wasn't. I mean, to be completely honest, like, it wasn't as daunting and uh, as tiring as the other ones were. So anyway,
So,
how are you? Because you were with us for a good part of the day,
yeah, I got
on several times,
I
and
got to check in all 12 hours, and was on for I think 3 of those hours. And I'll be honest, I was kind of on a high at the end of it. I felt amazing. It was invigorating, and it gave me life. I was having dreams about the stuff that was shared on Saturday as well. So it was good stuff.
Becky, I wasn't complaining about not being on camera. I was celebrating the fact that it made my life a lot easier. And then, because people like you were on camera instead. No, it was good. It was a good 12-hour live. I felt good after it. Sunday was good. Ray put in like a whole day on Sunday, meeting with people and all kinds of stuff too. So she worked pretty hard. So
when's the next one? Because it's sort of like when you have a baby or run a marathon, you're like, okay, now.
Well, Dave, I'm not sure whether we've mentioned that in marketer yet, so we'll have
the next one. So there we go.
You'll have to talk to the marketing team about that. There may be another one sometime. Okay. I don't know. I'll talk to Katie tonight, see if I can get her to say yes.
Fair enough.
Alex wants to know: does Jeff eat Cheetos, or are those part of his verboten? I don't know. You use words that I don't know how to say. Is verboten? Is that the words? Is that how you spell that word? Yeah. So I do not eat. I haven't had Cheetos. I cut them when I cut chips. So it's been a while.
Let's play this game.
It's been like 200 or something like that.
What foods is Jeff not allowed to eat? Let's play this game.
Geez, you want me? Can I cheat by pulling up my list here? Let's see here. Well, I haven't had brownies or cinnamon rolls in 24 days.
Okay.
And when I can't remember who I was telling. I was explaining that. I'm like, so I've cut all these different things out. Like, so I cut cookies out a while ago. I haven't had cookies for 97 days, which was important because I needed to stop eating cookies. That came from, I got on like an Oreo kick, and then Jacqueline, my daughter who's 6, found out that she really likes. Thanks, Bobby. It was the spelling. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever spelled that word out before. Bobby's always got my back though. And Jacqueline found out that she liked Oreos. I'm like, all right. So like, but I ate the last one in the box or whatever. I probably ate the first, all of them too. So I went and I bought a pack of Oreos for Jacqueline, and within the next few days, I ate them all. And she's like, I didn't get any of the Oreos, Dad. I'm like, so then I went to the store and I bought 2 things of Oreos. So I'm like, this way I can eat one and there'll still be some for her. She didn't get a lot. And I'm like, I've got to stop eating cookies. So I cut cookies. But then when why this has worked for me is because it's built in, like, they're cheats, but they're not cheats. Like, the rules allow for you to not have to just cut everything, which I figured out that I couldn't do. So then I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. I'll cut cookies. I'm like, which is fine because my wife bakes cupcakes all the time and she's really good at it. So I got her cupcakes still. And I got rid of candy way before that anyway. So then cupcakes are happening. I'm like, this is every time she's baking. I'm like, yeah, go ahead and bake like double that batch, maybe it's fine. And I'm like, well, that's got to cut. So I cut cupcakes out 66 days now with no cupcakes. But then what I was doing, I'm like, well, I'll cut cookies and cupcakes, but I could still eat brownies, which my wife never makes. But we had some. So one day Jacqueline's going over to her grandma's and she's like, I want to make cookies with Yummy. That's what she calls her grandma. And I'm like, no, take this. And she's like, what that? I'm like, it's brownies. You can do that and stuff. She's like, but why brownies? I'm like, because Daddy hasn't cut brownies yet, so I can eat those. And literally in that moment, I'm like, oh, I got to cut brownies. So I haven't had brownies for 24. The cinnamon rolls is like the day before that conversation. I ate an entire pack of cinnamon rolls by myself. And I'm like, well, this has got to stop. because it was just like on a random morning. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna have for breakfast: 8 cinnamon rolls. Because so I kept that. I haven't had potatoes for 49 days. Haven't had chips for 125 days. I've had this is my the biggest thing for me is that I have not had a single item from a fast food restaurant, like not even a drink, for 167 days.
Mm.
Haven't had candy for 172. No pizza, which is a really hard time for me, but I'm over it now. 215. And I haven't had any deep fried food like fried chicken and French fries for just. I'm like, what am I at? I'm like 2 days away from 500 or something. I'm at 498 today. I don't know why this works for me, but it works for me. Like, it's really weird that it does. But
I was just going to go there. A couple of things. Responding, Nikki Jacoby here, who's talking about her addiction for ice cream. So, interesting fact: Becky Schnexler, who's joining us today, she is my ice cream accountability partner. Anytime
really, you guys,
I have a craving, I have to let her know, and she holds me accountable, which is super cool.
Well, so Sunday on my bike ride, I was listening to you and Ray on the check, and you were talking about how you were going to eat ice cream with him and stuff. But yeah.
So I got to ask you. I'm going to take us back now 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had one of those deep conversations on Brain Break, and you told me that it's okay to change your goals. It's okay to change your plans. Mm-hmm. That for me, one of the healthiest things that I could do was to basically abandon one of the goals that I set 10 years ago and just start from scratch.
To be clear, I said I think it is.
Okay.
And it could be.
So I'm curious now. When are you going to abandon all of this and just go and chow and eat and say, that's okay, it was good?
So I'm not, because for me, they aren't. I don't have a goal of how long they started. They originally started with a goal. My first thing was I was going to go 75 days without doing the fried foods. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, oh, I feel better every day right now. After I was at like 60 something days, I'm like, I'm just going to stick with this. Me hitting every day just helped me, because I'm like, oh, it just helps me remember that I'm doing that. It makes me feel good about it, whatever. But like for me, this isn't like a goal that I'm trying to hit. Like I'm trying to make lifestyle changes. Okay. So,
but you told me that like the math behind it is what, after 3 months, or how many days in a row do you have to go before it becomes a habit, and then the habit becomes
the theory is that 30 days is a habit, 75 is a lifestyle change.
Okay. So theoretically, once you hit 75, you should stop keeping track of the days then, right?
Yeah. Oh, so you're asking when I'm going to stop tracking the days?
Well, let's start with that. Yeah. When are you going to stop tracking?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I honestly probably stop tracking any of the ones that I'm over 75, and it wouldn't matter. Like I don't have to track the fried food ones. I don't even like crave it at all anymore. For me, it's more of an interesting. I'm like, because every now and then I'll go on that app and I'll look. I'm like, I haven't marked off like my fried foods for like 25 days. And I'm like, I'm like, huh, what how many days am I at? And I like go back through and do it. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could probably stop tracking all the ones except for the ones that I'm under 75.
Do you have like a system where you're thinking, okay, this is going to be the next thing I tackle, or is it just like with the rest where you say it's in
no, because
you realize you got to just
it's been weird, because that's why it's worked. For whatever reason, the way my brain works, it has, because when I'm like, hey, I need to cut sugars, like this is not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to happen. I've come to that conclusion in my life at this point, but at some point, if I keep knocking little things out, at some point I'm going to go, I should really cut sugar, and be like, I don't eat anything really with sugar except for these 3 things. Well, that's easy now. And now I can make that adjustment. It was the same like I cut fried foods, but like it was a rule of like, it was deep fried foods that went in a fryer. So I could still have fries as long as they were baked.
Okay.
Which means when I had an opportunity, I pigged out on baked fries. And I'm like, well, this isn't actually all that much better for me, because they're loaded in barbecue sauce and stuff too. But and I'm like, okay, so eventually I'm like, oh, I got to cut that out, because I started to do that more often. I'm like, yeah, I'll buy a thing of fries at the store because they're baked, so I can have them. But I'll eat the whole freaking bag myself, the family size. And so I don't know why, like Chad and I talk about this all the time, because like, Chad went keto and he was able to just like change everything and just do it. I'm like, I just can't do that. I don't have the power, but this for some reason has worked for me to cut things out. So as far as tracking, yeah, I might change it, but as far as the like actually keeping them cut out, I don't know that. Like that, my mom, he's actually like, well, when are you going to eat potatoes? I'm like, I don't plan on ever eating them again. I'm just not going to eat them. Like I'm not cutting out veggies and apples and stuff like that. Like I'm cutting out things that aren't good for me. So sticking with it. The difference between this and your running though is that you hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so much better with everything that I've cut out because my stomach, I don't have issues.
I guess I need to clarify my hating of running. I hate physically how I feel about running. I hate it. But I love what it does for me mentally and emotionally. But I know there's other things that could give me that same emotional and satisfaction and clarity that wouldn't necessarily require the pounding of my legs. So obviously this has been on my mind now for 3 weeks, Jeff. I've been considering it. Well,
and my thing with you is just to maybe it's not. Maybe you should stick with it, but
I don't know. I'm definitely considering it.
It's essentially, I'm kind of just tired of hearing you complain about it. Like, that's all. Like,
Fair enough.
I don't know if anybody else picked up on that. That's where I'm at. Like,
lips are sealed. Got it. From here on out, my misery stays with me. Fair enough. All right.
However, we're gonna wrap it up and be done.
Yeah,
based on the conversation that we were having at that moment, because of how much stress and everything you were putting on that, and that's why I felt like actually that would be such a powerful thing, because you were like you were explaining that basically that you were captive to that.
Absolutely.
A decision you made 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was not like while there was benefits to it, it was like you were stuck to it. I'm not stuck to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not stuck to this. I can eat those stuff whenever I want. Like,
no, you're 100% right. And we have a mutual friend, Sarah Johnson, who was doing a running streak for a period of years, and she literally every single day would go out there and run at least a mile every single day, and she found herself captive to it. And then she stopped to set herself free from it. She's still out there running to stay healthy, but now it's because she wants to, not because she has to. So
and it was great. She did, but it was great that she, like, there's a benefit to the fact that she did it because she committed to it and she did it for so long. Because now going out and running a couple of days a week is probably easy for her. Right? Just like, you committed to that, but it got to where you're at now, so you can go out and run pretty nice distances and you do well with it and stuff. But if it's, sorry, I'm having an issue. I got
that notification too.
I just got notified that they're having trouble. So if you're in our group and struggling, that's the Facebook group might not be working well. Just so you know. Anyway, so I just think I don't know. I kind of want to see you finish that goal too, though. So there's part of me that's like, shut up, Jeff, let him do it. But
maybe we'll see.
I don't know if we had the conversation today, I might reply completely different to you.
Okay. Well, let's have it. Let's have it in a few weeks and see.
I was having this conversation with Ray earlier. Something about I can't remember. Was it something about giving advice and being the smartest person in the room? And I said, no. Typically, what I'm trying to do is actually like explain to people why I'm not the smartest person in the room. And I always try and clarify any advice that I give with like, hey, this is just my thoughts. I don't actually know if it's right. It's around like a lot of people ask me like, how do I do this, that, whatever with business and the team? And I'm like, well, this is how we do it. I'm not saying that means you should do it that way or that it'll work for you or that it's the best for you, but you asked me how we do it. So like our conversation was around whatever the heck it was around, and that's where I got to. But if we had that same conversation, say I might get to like, dude, that's really cool. You got a tattoo. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know anything, Dave.
Okay.
I just wear polos, drink wine, and work here.
Fair enough.
That's all I do.
Your thoughts though are in my head because I've been thinking about it, and honestly, the reason I'm continuing down this path is because I don't want to change something just because somebody else told me to change something. I want to make sure it's something that I value and that I'm going to do. So I appreciate that. Tell you what, you go ahead and read the little notification we have here because it asks you to do something. And I don't want to be the one to do it.
Oh, is it asking me to do something? Okay, hold on.
You got to remove something and then add something. So you do that while I set ourselves up for a transition here for a game we're going to play. Is that cool?
It says either create a new broadcast or just remove this. I'm thinking.
And then re-add it. Remove and then add it?
Let's see what happens here. Delete on sorry guys, we're gonna mess with this. So I'm taking it out of the group.
There's a little notification that says remove. Do you see that?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
It's giving me other information now.
Okay. All right, everybody, you're about to.
It's essentially saying, "Hey, remove this," and then when I remove it, it's like, "Hey, you can't remove this."
Okay.
Anyway, all right. So hopefully you guys can all see us still. Do me a favor, throw some green hearts in the chat if you're still seeing us on the stream. And if you're not, clearly you won't be replying. So.
Okay. Well,
but I'd like to know because now I'm a little curious.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the group. It's the Teach Better Team group that it's struggling to.
Okay.
So. Okay. Anyway.
Well,
Candace can see us, and that's really all I care about.
And Candace, are you in the group Or are you on?
Or are you on the page? Yeah, are you guys on the page or in the group, or where are you at? I mean, everyone.
Different places.
Well, she says she can see us again. So, Bree, are you in the group? Tell us where you, if you can. Tell us what you're watching on. Are you watching on the Facebook page, in the Facebook group, on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube? Let us know.
Well, the numbers. I just see the viewership just went up like 10. So
did Bree drop? Are those
green apples?
Green apples. Interesting.
Overachiever. Green hearts are so last 12 hour.
You know, Candace, I really appreciate all the help that you give us here with. It's like, I don't know,
whatever.
Sometimes on Facebook, it's hard to tell where you're watching from because it just pops up.
I see page, I see group, and I see the numbers rising. So I think we're everywhere right now.
Hey, whatever, we'll get here.
Yeah,
okay, so
let's play a little game. Play a little game. So
games. Good.
Sometimes we play random games. We just try to embarrass people. Like we had Katie Miglin acting some things out recently. We've had people on here humming and making a fool of themselves. We're not going to do that today. We're not going to embarrass people. We've also done the brackets, which we've made connections to for teachers to be able to say, hey, this is something you can do in your classroom.
Yeah.
Right now, I know a lot of people, I'm going to save my editorial on this and my commentary on this, maybe for like 7:00 tonight, are doing a lot of test prep. Maybe in their classrooms, they're preparing for final exams. Maybe you've got a big state assessment to give. And there's a lot of people practicing for big theory tests. So let's play a game or an activity that teachers can, it's probably one that they've played multiple times in their life, but it's also one that you could apply to your classroom just to start to determine student readiness for the big tests that are coming.
So you're gonna determine my readiness for the state test right now?
Not at all.
Good.
I already have that determination, so we're not going there. It's a game we played before. It's a game that we have all played at some point in our life. It's 20 questions. It's a simple game where I have something written down, and I'll actually give you a category to make it easier, and then you'll simply ask yes or questions that I have to answer with yes or no, and you'll start to narrow down your focus in your head until you can come up with a guess as to what the thing is that I have written down. Okay.
And then hopefully everyone in watching will guess for me as we start narrowing things down.
Yeah. So it's sort of like Guess Who, if you've ever played that game. In your classrooms, it's something you can use no matter the content area, just for students to be able to synthesize information and to start focusing in on things. So this is one that obviously, yes, the comments are going to be super important for you. They can either give you questions that you want to ask. They can give you clues. They can do all the things. And no, Alex, it is not King Kong, nor is it Godzilla.
So we had it, Alex.
All right. Are we ready for this?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different categories. And I'll let you choose the category to start. So let me tell you the 4 categories, and then you can go from there. So category 1 is animals. Category 2 is things familiar to teachers. Category 3 is TV. And category 4 is movies.
Animals, please.
Animals.
Okay. Yeah.
We will go with animals. Okay. So you get to ask questions that I can only answer with yes or no. And you have 20 questions. The goal is to answer it in as few questions as possible to show how smart you are. Do you have a guess already?
Is it a Wolverine?
No, but that would have been amazing. No, there's question 1.
That was a good trick. I didn't realize that was my question. I thought it was just.
You can just guess 20 animals.
Does it live in water? In the water?
No.
Okay. Get a lot of questions in here. Is it an animal that humans in the United States would consume as food?
No.
Okay.
Not legally. I should say not legally. I don't want to say no definitively. And somebody said, well, I had a second cousin that lived down the street that told me one. Yeah.
Does it have fur?
No.
Does it have... So it lives on... So it's on land. It doesn't have fur. Does it have scales?
No.
Interesting.
25% of the way done already. No pressure here.
That's all right. There's no pressure anyway. Does it have feathers?
As you and I covered before we went live, I'm very good at math. So 25% equates to 5 out of 20.
Does it have... Does it have? Um, I already said feathers. Does it have feathers?
It does have feathers.
It
Yes,
has feathers.
it does have
Okay.
feathers. So Bobby wants to know if it's an elephant. I think that might be an excellent guess now with all of your clues.
So I don't. If to my knowledge, elephants don't have feathers.
Oh, okay. Then never mind.
To my knowledge, unless I
What
mean
about
I know of
tiger?
one.
I see the guess about tigers.
I know of one elephant that has a feather.
Yes, he actually puts it in his little trunk and
Yeah,
flies.
and some.
He flies.
Candace wants to know. I see, but if I ask about that specific one, then we go. Is it a peacock? I'm trusting Candace.
Oh, Candace, I'm sorry, it is not a
not.
peacock.
Is it considered a large bird or a large animal compared to its
Yeah, I would say it's a large.
similar
I would say
animal?
it's a large bird. As to not try to trick you and
Okay.
confound you, I'll say it's a large bird.
So it's not a peacock. Is it an ostrich?
It is not an ostrich.
Is it an emu?
It is not an emu.
Oh, man.
However, emu is a great place to go get your doctorate degree. Anybody looking to go get a degree at Eastern Michigan University? Good plug there, Jeff Gargas.
Are they the emus?
They are not actually.
They should be. What are they? What's Eastern Michigan?
They've gone through quite the evolution. I don't want to say it now because there's still some controversy. They used to
Okay,
have a Native
moving on.
American name. Yeah.
Joe suggested bird. We're there. So it's not an ostrich. It's not a Does it have bright colors?
And by the way, we are halfway done with the questions for this one.
Does
I
it
would say
have
it's
bright
yeah.
colors?
I'd say it's bright. They're very.
Is it a flamingo?
Yes, it is, Jeff Gargas. Well
It
done.
is.
And it only
Somebody said that in the
They
thing.
did.
Where is it at? Someone Megan Wells. Of course it was Megan Wells.
Megan Wells.
So how many did we get it in?
Flamingos are on my mind, Jeff Gargas. Yes, it was 12. 12.
12 questions. All right.
Yeah.
That's like it took me. I only had to go about 50%. 50%. Is that 12?
Yeah.
12? 50%?
Yeah.
20?
Yeah. So this is like a fun game to play if you're like a social studies teacher and you want students to identify states and you have a specific state and they can start doing geographical references or natural resources, like so many different things, the ways that you can do this, or presidents, lots of different ways to go. Flabongos. I'm sorry, I was just reading one of the responses. All right, I think he's on his phone or something, so it's all good. All right, so Jeff Gargas, would you like another category?
Sure, why not?
Okay, animals, things familiar to teachers, TV or movies.
Let's do things familiar to teachers.
Things familiar to
I got a lot of teachers with me here today. I'm hoping they can help me out and back me up here. Let's go. So
and the score to beat is 12. 12. You want to start guessing?
Is it found? Well, so let me phrase this here. Is it a physical item?
It is a physical item. Good question. Excellent question, actually. Yes, it is.
A physical item, okay. Is it found in a typical physical classroom?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. Is it meant to be written on? Written or drawn on?
No.
Okay, so not drawn on like that. Does it require electricity?
No. Those are good questions people are asking here.
Physical item. Oh, I didn't even notice that Bobby and I were just on that page.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. All right. So it's in the classroom. It's not supposed to be written on. It doesn't require electricity.
Those of you that are still
physical item.
look around. Help Jeff out.
Is it a? Let me see how I want to phrase this. Is it also used by the students in a classroom?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay, you were a little hesitant on that, which makes me wonder to what extent.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
That's question 5, by the way.
Was it in classrooms prior to the year 1990.
Ooh.
I don't know why I'm asking. Actually.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no because
All
when
right.
I was student teaching in 1999, I did not have access to said thing.
Okay. I like both Bobby and Candace here. Can it, and I think they kind of go sort of hand in hand there. Can it be moved around the room? Is it small enough to be moved? Okay.
Yep, it
Yes.
can be moved.
But it doesn't require electricity.
That's question 7.
Is it made of paper or recycled material? Okay. No. Okay. So it's a item that. Is it made of wood?
No.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm curious, what item made of wood would we not have had prior to 1990?
Well, as I was thinking, I'm like, ruler. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure those were around before 1990.
I had a ruler in my classroom, yeah. So
the problem was after I asked about 1990, I realized my thought behind that was something like a computer or laptops, but I'm like, I already asked electricity, so that was a dumb, wasted answer.
Okay.
Is it? Does it hold or contain something else?
Kind of a trick question. So I want to try to give you a straight answer. It is not a container, if that's what you're asking. Like, is it made to hold things, or is
it made to put something else in it?
No.
Okay.
So this is tricky.
What are we at right now?
That was question 10.
Ooh,
I honestly think that 1990 question might be throwing people here because they can't conceptualize that this thing is not necessarily that old or wasn't utilized in classrooms. However, I'll give it a bonus clue for anybody that was watching Focus on the Focus last week. I explained to people that in my first classroom, I did not have access to this at all. As a matter of fact, it was not until my 5th year in the classroom that I had access to this. So, yeah, it's interesting.
But it's not meant to be written on.
It's not meant to be written on.
And doesn't use electricity.
It does not use electricity.
I'm trying to think of what you said on that thing. Wow. Okay. It's not made of wood.
So Candace was watching because she's talking about overhead projector.
Mel uses electricity.
Mel was watching because I mentioned something about whiteboard.
But you write on a whiteboard.
You do write on a whiteboard, yeah. Is it a is it a dry erase marker? Boom! Jeff Gargis, there you go. Yes, that's
gotcha. Okay.
On question 11.
I was catching the on. You were stressing on because you can't.
Trying.
It's not meant to write on, but you still write it. So okay.
That's true. So yeah,
I got that 11.
Yeah, I did not have a whiteboard in my classroom until my 5th year. I had a chalkboard and overhead projectors. I had so many overhead projector sheets. It was ridiculous. You could get the blank ones. And I asked at Christmas time, I asked if people just buy me boxes of the overhead projector sheets because you could run those through a copy machine and make like virtual worksheets and stuff.
Okay. You just run it through. See, I'm sure there was a lot of those. I'm just not thinking. I remember so many of my teachers using those, and they were literally just writing, like, basically live taking notes with us, like to give us what we should be paying.
Yeah, I was fancy. I ran mine through the printer. Yeah.
Hold on.
You getting more notifications here?
Nikki did ask, do you write with it? And I asked, I didn't see her asking that, but we got there anyway. We got there.
Yep.
Megan says, but we had whiteboards in high school in 1994. But I
Megan went to a rich school, so.
But I said before 1990.
You did. And I clarified that I didn't have access until my 5th year. So, yeah.
I'm trying to think of when. I don't know when we got whiteboard. I mean, I'm pretty sure I think maybe 1-2 years of my entire career we had whiteboards.
So Megan, 1994, you were in high school. What year did you graduate? I'm curious now. And Alex, in your 4th grade class in 92, 93. Awesome. Thanks for that. Okay. Amazing.
All right, so okay, that was fun. I think I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead.
You should.
I had
You
2
should.
wins. We're gonna
Two
stay
wins.
off.
2 wins. What was the? Where's
Didn't
the
didn't
winning
take,
threshold?
didn't take me 20 questions,
So that's
which
the
means
goal is just.
I win and you lose. Like
Oh
it's
wow.
2-0 Jeff right now.
Well, if that's the case, I would have had instead of a flamingo, I would have gone with like roly poly or something like that. If I knew I was trying to beat you. Okay, I see how this plays. Okay.
Dave, can you name the 3 wonders of the world?
3.
Apparently, I don't know. That's a random
Jeff,
question.
Chad, and Ray.
Man. I had this random 300 plus fun trivia questions. I'm like, oh, that was the first one I saw. See if there's anything decent here.
And Alex, no, everybody
not.
does not win. And that is not how life works, Alex. It's very sweet of you to say such a thing, though.
Dave, how many days are in a fortnight?
Well, 14, unless you're my son, and it's 324/7, 365.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
He's kind of moved on from Fortnite. Does Jonathan still play Fortnite? Is that his go-to right now?
Oh, his go-to is Rocket League, and he is like I'm legitimately looking at tournaments to put him in because he's like the kid's good at Rocket League. He's 9, and he's good. Like we go in and he just carries me, and we go and play like some pretty high level guys, who all comment how good he is for being what they assume is a little kid based on his voice. So, no, Rocket League's his go-to. He plays a lot of Fortnite too, still, but Rocket League's like his biggest thing. And then still plays Minecraft. He'll get his Minecraft kicks, but it keeps going back to Rocket League. And then he's a big Did yours play Roblox?
Well,
both my kids love Roblox too.
Yep, my 4th grader does, and my 2nd grader does. Yeah.
Cool. And then John and I, we use some serious BTD6, Boons TD6 on the iPads. Yeah, I don't know if you ever played that. It's a tower defense game. It's a tower defense. So, you're setting up, your monkeys, and you're trying to pop balloons. And so you have different types of monkeys, like dart monkeys, flying monkeys, and you have to strategy and use your points to whatever. And he loved it, and so then he, like a while, like a good year and a half ago, he asked me to download it on mine so we could play together. And I'm like, it's like a fun little game play. So him and I, we jam on that pretty hard too.
Okay.
So much that I just got us a couple hoodies that have characters on them for him because he's gonna love it. But yeah, typically Rocket League.
Okay.
Typically Rocket League. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you play it all with your kids or no?
Well,
they're older though, so
I don't play video games with them. No. They get video game time when like I'm doing this to keep them quiet. Which some people say, man, they must be playing video games all day long. Not necessarily the case. We spend a lot of time out on our trampoline together, like a lot of time. Winter, spring, summer, fall, doesn't matter. We're out there jumping around on the trampoline. Probably the best investment I've ever made as a dad was buying them a trampoline. Yeah,
we love our trampoline too. I don't go on as much because of my knee. But the kids have a blast on it. Megan, who's we? Is that your school, or just curious who we is that you're competing state level for Rocket League? Anyway, so
Nikki asked a question. I'm curious about the answer for, and I have no idea. Do you know what the chainsaw was first used for? I would guess chopping down trees, but
that'd be mine. But apparently, it's not that because that seems super easy, right?
All right, Nikki. Are we playing 20 questions with you now, Nikki? How does this work? What would a chainsaw have been used for? I'm assuming it would have still had the motor on it. Maybe chopping ice? Like breaking through ice or something to go fishing? I don't know. Nikki, let me know.
I'm thinking, I don't know if Megan is telling me who competes at the state level or if she's explaining that chainsaws were originally used for school.
I'm hoping it's the other way around.
Anyway, so Dave, what's going on tonight? You and Caitlin are on at 7:00 Eastern time. What's the focus of the focus on the focus today?
Okay,
a lot of focus.
So I get fired up pretty easily when we start talking grading and assessment.
Yeah, we know.
And there's a reason that this one was put where it is, because if we would have started with this one, the fire would have burned out quickly. Tonight we're talking about formative versus summative, not formative and summative, but truly the battle between the two.
Oh, and, which is better?
That is part of it.
Or like a comparison, or which is better, or both?
Yes, yes, and yes. A lot of misunderstandings, misapplications, educational malpractice. This is one where I have a feeling Caitlin will be sending me texts saying, Dave, stop, slow down, because it's one that I get super passionate about, because I feel like there's a lot of misapplication being done in a lot of places that it's not necessarily that it's not good for kids. There's some of this misapplication is actually harmful for kids. So I plan on... I'm
not listening to you anymore.
I know. It's okay.
I'm focused on the fact that you changed saws like Chubb. Yeah, just like...
Oh, okay.
Can you imagine? All I'm picturing right now is like, sir, would you like to cut the umbilical cord? I sure would. Like, it's just... What?
Nikki, why would you bring this to us? So people that are just listening right now, Nikki asked us a question a few minutes ago. What was the chainsaw originally used for? And we thought chopping wood or something. The answer that Nikki just gave, I'm just going to read it verbatim, as an aid for childbirth. An aid for childbirth. I
don't know that you can hashtag fun fact with that. Just fact.
No, not at all. Oh,
Alex is the adverb, those nouns, Dave.
He knows where I'm going a little bit tonight. Yeah, he's heard.
So sorry about. I'm sorry. I got distracted by that.
So that's what Caitlin's gonna have to do tonight too. So I'll be going and she'll have to drop a chainsaw you for childbirth just to try to get me to come back to center, because oh my goodness. BT dubs, they use the chainsaw to break the pelvis. What, Alex? The fact that you have this in the back of your brain and oh my gosh,
that's not that surprising that he knows that, but. I'm trying to figure out, how does that work?
No, you don't want to know that. You don't want to know that, and nor do you want to go YouTube this later on to try to figure it out. Real good, thank you.
Yeah, anyone who posts anything more about chainsaws is getting booted from the chat. He's ruined my night, possibly my life. I don't know. So all right, so Dave,
But you do have good conversation for dinner tonight. Sitting around the dinner table, bring this up and see what we got. No,
that's what I want to do. Brienne says she's sad about this break. I'm not relaxed. What's going on, Bri?
It could either be because she keeps getting kicked out of the group. That's possibly
okay.
It could be that she just learned what chainsaws were used for.
That's true.
Maybe she's thinking about assessment, or she just doesn't like us anymore.
So I shouldn't ask my assessment question?
You can.
What I was just going to ask, like, from in your experience, what's the most common fundamentally misconception that you hear / see when it comes to formative and summative? Okay. Is it that folks get them confused between the two, or how they correlate with each other? Or
so I'll go back to the beginning of our conversation tonight when you said you were talking about things that you've given up, and one of the things you gave up was fast food. And one of the reasons you gave up fast food is because it's just not as healthy as the food that sometimes takes a little bit longer to cook, the stuff that has more nutrients and more substance. One of the things that's happened over the last 15 years or so is that there's this fast food approach to consuming research and to understand what works for kids, where people don't want to take the time and the energy to do a dive and say, what does it actually say? So they resort to what I commonly joke of as conferencitis, or the fast food approach. They'll take somebody who just takes a small portion. They'll take one little quote from the research because that's all they read. They read the snapshot, they read the bullet point, and they say that this is what it all says. And then they say it, somebody tweets it, somebody puts it on Facebook, so then somebody else picks it up at a conference, and there's hundreds of people saying the same misapplication because nobody took the time to actually...
Kind of like our world on everything else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then people take this and they put it into their classrooms and say, but the research says, but it's not really research.
But it's not actually what the research says.
Somebody
said it was someone's understanding of the research.
That's right. That's like me saying that I know what's happening in the Pentagon because I watched Fox News and CNN. Well, no, that's somebody's opinion of somebody else's opinion of somebody else's opinion because somebody came out and leaked the story. Same kind of concept. So we're going to talk about what the research actually says, and how it is misapplied, and how it not only doesn't help, but how it actually hurts. So
Interesting.
yeah,
that's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time.
It will be, especially with Caitlin, because she's kind of intense about this kind of stuff too.
Yep, exactly. It's exactly. Well, it's not that. So I want to be clear. Like, it's not necessarily the internet. What's that?
I created the internet, so now people can run with that too and take that as truth because I said.
So my thing is, it's not just the internet. We just see it a lot more because the internet makes us all see it, and it's easier to do. That's been happening forever.
Right.
Where someone heard something in a barber shop and then they only heard part of it, and that's the part that they shared with their bias and their thought to it, and they told their neighbor, who then told their neighbor, then took it to town hall, and then maybe made it on radio, whatever. It's the same thing. It was just slower. Mm-hmm. Now it's so fast and it's so much that it happens all the time. Well, biggest thing for me, like that just goes into the whole idea that like social media didn't ruin anything. It just exposed everybody. Same thing here. Like this was a problem that was there. Yeah. It's just now it can happen so fast and so wide so quickly that it's really, really dangerous. Yeah, exactly. Like it's a lot of the telephone.
And we get ourselves in these insulated bubbles too. And I think like educators, we understand what this is like. As in our jobs, we live and we work in a bubble. We're in a classroom, 4 walls, we're closed in. We're doing the best work we know how to do, and we're doing God's work. And what we're doing is having a positive impact on society and positive impact on kids. We see the results after a generation, 20, 30 years goes by, and we see those success stories that we helped impact. But every teacher has that story. Every single teacher is making a positive impact, and they all have those stories from 20 years where that kid that comes back and says, "You changed my life," which is amazing, which goes to the point that teachers matter more than anything else. But the problem is because every single person has one of those stories, we all believe that the work that we're doing is the right work or the best work or it's the work that everybody should be doing. And then we start to surround ourselves with other people that think the work should look and act and feel the same way as the work that we're doing. We insulate ourselves from some of those opposing points of view. We see people that talk about this stuff all the time. I remember you and I were commenting on somebody's post on social media a little while ago that said they were reading something and the person had written something that the person reading it didn't agree with. And the question was, do I keep reading or do I put it down and go find something that I do believe with? And I think a lot of people say, nope, I'm just going to read the stuff that basically tells me what I already know. And that's what we tend to do a lot in society, as opposed to listening to opposing points of view and either using that opposing point of view to confirm what we believe, to say, yep, that does not make sense, or to listen to it and to try to see if any of what they're saying does make sense and inform us in a way that we don't necessarily. And social media enhances that because it forces us to only hear what we want to hear because they want to stay in their apps. They want us to hear the voices that we like, so they only tell us the things that we want to hear.
Well, and when you click on and go to it, and if you click off of the one that you didn't agree with, and you spend more time on the other one, they're going to give you more of that.
There you go.
For me, something that I try to do, and I'm not always perfect at it, but I try so hard to do is if I see something, whether it's a tweet, quote, meme, whatever, article, whatever, that I agree with right away, I try to debunk it. And if I see something that I get really upset about because I disagree with it, I try to go figure out whether to prove it right. And I try to dig in. I'm like, okay, but is it actually that, or is that just what the headline says? What did they actually say in there, right? And for me, it's been really eye-opening to do that, and I think super helpful because then I'm less likely to tweet out angry stuff. I'm less likely to I'm less likely to share things that are incorrect for either side or sides and everything like that. But it also then it drives me even more crazy when I see like someone that I know and love tweet something that I'm like, oh, I just saw that 2 days ago and I debunked it with a quick Google search and you just shared it and like you doubled down on it. So it's interesting.
Yeah. It really is. It really is. And it's not that you want to encourage people to change their way of thinking. Sometimes I just want, even if just listening to the other side, whatever that other side is, or a different point of view, helps confirm what you're thinking. God bless you. That's great. But you don't know unless you investigate. So,
well, but even more so for me is like, if you are someone who wants to change other people's mind, the best fuel you get is actually to go understand why they don't agree with you.
Right.
and look and try to rationalize it as hard as possible for yourself so that you can, at the very least, go, I don't agree with you, but I can see how you got there.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have something to stand on to go like, okay, how would I then, what can I do to make it so that fewer people get to that point? Because I see how they get there. I totally like, and that's where I usually get to. I might confirm and be like, nope, I totally disagree with that person, that politician, that commentator, whatever. I'm like, but if I look at the facts and everything I do know or that I believe is true, I'm like, I can see how they got there and how they view it that way. That makes sense.
Yeah. And
So,
that is truly empathy. And that is teaching. That's teaching at its finest. I mean, if you think about and this is something else we'll bring up tonight too, about the idea of pre-test and post-test. So I'm going to try to tread lightly here so that I don't get fired up and we just have a few minutes left here. So let's just,
we only have 10 minutes left, Dave.
For people that believe in the idea of a pretest is in essence, the way that it's traditionally used in classrooms is I need to figure out what the students know so that I can either change their understanding or solidify their understanding, right? It's truly, let me get inside your head to figure out where you are so that I can take you further. But yet as adults, we don't want to necessarily do that with adults. We just want people to be that polished product at the end. And then when they don't see things our way, it's a judgment on the person as opposed to insights on the belief of the idea. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, yeah. So anyway, that'll be the conversation in an hour.
Yep. I agree, Nikki. I hate hate-filled rhetoric, but I try even harder when it's hate-filled to figure out why are they so fired up about it and why are they so mad. Is it just because they're always mad? And if that's the case, I then try to figure out why that person's always mad. But like, what is it that happened that got them to that point?
Have you ever had? I guess I don't know if I should even ask this question, but I'll answer it.
Why not? We got 8 minutes left.
Have you ever had people that have despised you, and you've really thought back, like, why? Why do they? What issue do they have with me?
I'm sure there are some, but I'm not sure that they ever told me to, or I found out to know that they despise me. So I guess I don't know.
Okay.
I have had
me either. No, you went
but I don't know. I don't know that either. Just no one told me that they had a conversation with someone who hates me, or that person never shared it with me. So I don't know, but I'm certain there are people that despise me for one reason or another. I did have when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, I was managing an Arby's restaurant, and I had 2 employees that were classmates, good friends, that were like 3 years behind me, or maybe they're 4. I think I was a senior when they were freshmen in high school. And after working with me for a few months, they told me that they used to hate me because they thought I was because I played sports. All my friends were the captains of the teams and stuff, and I was a captain of the soccer team and stuff like that. And they weren't. They didn't hang with the cool kids, as they put it, and they just assumed that I was like the experience that they had with someone else that I happened to be friends with. So I had that, and that was a moment where I was like, whoa, like that was what I realized. I'm like, wow, that's not cool. And I had conversations. I remember having conversations at my senior party, like my senior year, with kids in my class who I always loved and I thought, were good people, and we always were cool, but like having conversations about and figuring out how different their experience was compared to mine, just based on you're not even talking different schools, different anything, just purely based on the different cliques within our little school, which we only graduated, 122 kids in my class. So you do that, and then you start expanding that out into the rest of the world, and you're like, whoa, like the experiences are so different. It's nuts. Even within the same school and the same grade level in the same town, the experiences can be so different. And when we were planning we didn't do a 10-year. So the person that was supposed to, our class president, disappeared. So we never did a 10-year anniversary. So I put together our 12-year anniversary, and we just decided now we're just going to do random years. Anyway, when we did that, we were reaching out to people, like the 2 guys that were helping me plan it. They didn't understand why anyone wouldn't want to come to that. I'm like, maybe because high school wasn't all that great for some people. Like, well, that's stupid. Why? I'm like, because you were a jerk. They're like, he was like, well, they could have just talked to me. I'm like, no, that's not how people work. Like, they thought you didn't, you weren't a good person. They didn't like it. Like, it was so weird. That was a moment where I was like, oh, so I figured that out, that people could have, maybe not everyone loved me, right? And if someone didn't like me, maybe it was my fault. And I'm like, oh, and some people that just never get there and just assume that if someone has a problem with them, it's their fault. And it's you, and there's zero empathy there and stuff. So I don't even know where we're going at this point. It's just it all comes back to this, like, trying to, you gotta, like, it's, for me, it's always trying to dig in, like, why are people doing things, like, and why do they get there, and, like, if they're angry, if they're hate filled, like, typically it's out of pain. Like, that's usually where that's coming from. Might be really hard to figure out where the pain's from, but
yeah,
it's usually what it is. I don't know.
it's deep stuff.
I don't know, Dave. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so
It's one of those conversations that I feel like I could dive into.
We could. We have 5 minutes left.
I don't know that I want to, because it's this place where. So I went through a phase. I've gone through lots of phases in my life where, you know, I went through the long hair phase. I had lots of earrings phase. I went through the.
Me too. How many did you have?
I had 3. 6. Look at you, rock star. I went through the baggy jeans. I went through the tight jeans. I've gone through all the phases, just like lots of people do. But
Sure.
even as an adult, I've gone through phases of trying to adapt not just my clothing and my styles, but my personality to match those around me. Or I would find myself even using rhetoric or saying things to try to appease other people, not just to gratify people and make people feel good. I mean, that is basic decency, but literally saying things to try to get people to accept whether or not it was something I truly believe in.
This is going back to a couple of weeks ago, but that's why most people do most things.
Yeah, but I also recognize that people that do that stuff the most are also the ones that get the most upset when people disagree with those statements or those opinions, or they don't get that acceptance. It's this interesting paradigm that the harder you work for acceptance, the harder you fight for that acceptance, and the more upset you get when even the things that you don't necessarily firmly believe, but the things that you're saying aren't accepted, and it just puts you on this vicious cycle. So,
but sometimes it's because you work so hard to be accepted because of those views that then if you find someone that disagrees with that, you feel like whoever it was that made you fight hard to have that view to be accepted. Now, when someone else disagrees, you're fighting on behalf of all those people that you were trying to, because if you don't, it's the same reason a Republican or Democratic senator or someone that you've never heard of from some state will back up the party leader, even if they completely disagree with them, because the rest of the party would. Now, there's other pieces that fall into that with money and whatever, but in general, like, because they're afraid that everyone's going to go against them because they've built their entire life on being this party, right? Or this party.
Yeah, that's definitely a big component of it. Or I'll just use myself for an example. There's a part of me who, I work really hard at everything I do, and even sometimes when you work really hard to create a facade, when people start attacking the facade, it's not an indictment on the facade that I get upset about. It's, you don't understand how hard I worked to create this. Now you're attacking.
Sure.
So,
I get it. We have a guest that appears to be dropping in. Are you dropping in back there? I see you backstage. Are you coming in, or are you just like creeping? Because, all right. Well, you can bring yourself in if you're ready. Otherwise, we'll go.
Ray,
well, let's like.
Do you realize that we're so cool today? We broke Facebook.
I did see that you broke Facebook. That's actually why I popped in here. I was going to be like, do you guys need anything?
Yeah, Facebook is broken because we were so popular. The algorithm couldn't keep up, and they just said, just shut it down. They have to push the little reset button and then kick the computer and start again. So
I feel like I understand that. You guys break stuff all the time. So
yeah. What are you doing here? What's up?
You know, here's the problem. On my calendar, I had meetings all through Brain Break, and then my meeting ended, and I was like, I wonder if they're still live. So I'm popping in.
Oh, yeah, we're still live. We had a good time today. We did some games, we did some reflection, and then
we tried to fix Facebook. We tried to fix Facebook.
We tried to fix Facebook. We didn't, but we tried. And then Dave took us down some weird. We started to go deep again. Way at the there's not enough time left.
When I saw you pop into the back, I was like, "Oh crap, we got caught again." That's what.
we got caught going deep again. Like we almost went there in the beginning. We're like, nope, we're not doing that. Let's have some fun, and we did. And then Nikki ruined everyone's day with chainsaws and stuff.
Oh
and
gosh. Ray,
here we are.
Ray, I'm going to give you some homework. Do not do it now. You need to figure out why chainsaws were invented. Don't look it up now because it will ruin your night. Alex filled us in. Nikki filled us in. Don't do it now. Don't do it now.
Ray, don't do it at all.
Wait,
Oh.
later on.
aren't they to cut down trees?
No, nope, apparently not.
You would think. However, just to give you a tip, I don't know if you ever heard this, but I found out today. I heard this old saying that was, it's like, I don't know, from the 50s maybe or something, that was like, your pelvis is the tree of your body. I heard that once. I don't know if you've heard that. So I heard is pelvis is the tree of your body.
Wow.
So if you take,
I'm not even attacking that quote.
Isn't that what,
form.
Dave? I'm going off of what we learned earlier.
Well, I know what you're trying to say.
Okay.
If anybody else just tuned in, their mind just went a completely different direction. So I'm so sorry.
I'm trying to read back through the comments to see if anybody told me why.
It's in,
It's in
and
there.
it's probably much better to read it in the comments than to accidentally Google it, because I have no idea what that's going to do.
Oh my gosh.
Katie's telling you just to run, go now, get out of here, leave. And Mel just Googled it.
I'm sorry about the rest of your feed for the rest of the night, Mel. Because who knows what ads you're going to get from here on out.
Okay, can you give me a tip? Is it like scary?
Yes.
It's definitely scary, but not in like a horror movie. Well, man, maybe.
Well.
It's in like a holy crap, I can't believe that's actually true thing. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I'm not gonna Google it. Megan says don't Google it on school computer though. Anyway, so we're over time. I wanted to make sure that we noted that tomorrow night is Mastery Chat. Mike S. Sapanic, I think I say it right. Mike needs to tell me if I say it right or wrong. Is leading us. He's one of our ambassadors. He's reflecting on the positive, practical teaching shifts that will endure.
Which chat is this tomorrow night?
This is the updated, brand new Teach Better Chat. However, it's still following the classic Mastery Chat rules, but we are using both hashtags, both Teach Better and Mastery Chat.
Okay, I'm telling you, we have explained this in so many confusing ways, and I finally explained it to Bella, and she said it made sense the way I explained it to her.
So explain it.
So use that.
Here's my breakdown. We are slowly transitioning from Mastery Chat to Teach Better Chat, which is a different hashtag and a different format, right? We understand that's the case. So until May 20th, we're going to, really for the next 6 months, we're using both hashtags to make sure we don't lose family members. But between now and May 20th, we're going to be using the Mastery Chat stream on Twitter. Like when you log into Twitter, you should be searching hashtag Mastery Chat. That's this like stream that we're following. On May 20th, you will switch that and you will follow the hashtag Teach Better stream in Twitter. That's the stream that we're going to primarily move to use. And that's when the format will change.
So tomorrow is Mastery Chat. That's really the actually easiest non-confusing ways. That tomorrow is Mastery Chat. Just use both hashtags while you're there. Use hashtag Teach Better too. It's still Mastery Chat, right?
You got my text.
What did you text?
I gave her the answer.
Oh, did you?
She didn't Google it.
How is that possible?
Yeah, well, you know.
Also, just to brag, Dave and I texted today.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
You jealous?
She's bragging about texting you. Like, we talked, but she doesn't find that worth bragging at all. So. I get it. Hey, Ray, nice shot. I like the new background for Brain Break. It was cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's nice. I'm realizing that also that you just switched and there's a 3-person one too. So I love it. So yes, tomorrow is Mastery Chat.
But use both hashtags because we're practicing and we know that practice is beneficial before making any large change. So we'll be using both hashtags for at least 2 months. So get over it, guys.
Bree, stop confused. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. She said no chat, and I'm like, no, there's still chat tomorrow, Bree. She's saying it's Teach Better, not Teach Better Chat. Yeah.
Hashtag Teach Better is the
yes, that'll be happening tomorrow. In about an hour, under an hour now, about 56 minutes, Dave will be live with Caitlin, talk about Focus on Focus. We kind of gave you a preview a little bit earlier about that, so that's happening.
And Ray, just to be, because you didn't watch it, Jeff asked me an assessment question and it almost got me going, and then they dropped the chainsaw thing and they're just distracted.
We stopped
because I'd still be going. So
guys,
so everyone's searching Google for other shocking facts that they can drop just to bring Dave back in if we need to tonight.
Is anyone else like really anxious about Focus on the Focus? Like
No.
I have like massive anxiety about Focus on the Focus, Dave. Like I am struggling. Just so you know.
Okay.
Why do you have anxiety?
Because every time I feel like I'm listening and like my entire world changes because of what they say. And then I'm like, man, I don't know anything that I'm doing. Like it makes me feel like I have so much work to do and growth to make that I'm like, every week I'm like, okay, Ray, you could do it this week. Listen to Focus on the Focus. There's going to be, topics that like, make your brain just explode. I'm just really anxious about it. I don't know.
Well, luckily after tonight, we're going to take a little hiatus for next week and then bring people back in 2 weeks. So next week we have some things to celebrate.
Yeah. We are celebrating next week. Bree gave a shout out, so we'll end with a nice shout out to Chad Ostrowski and our ambassadors. Chad apparently gave such a good PD experience last night that many of our ambassadors were dreaming of grids throughout night. And who was it? Was it Mike? Or, I can't remember who it was. One of them said it was the first. Oh no, it was Mark Horner said that it was the first time he had good night's sleep in a long time. So apparently, Chad's the solution to that. So anyway, all right. So we'll see you back here in about. Well, I won't see you, but Dave and Caitlin will see you back here in just under an hour for Focus on Focus. We'll see you tomorrow night for Mastery Chat at 8:00 Eastern. Use both hashtags. And Ray, are you live anytime between now and soon?
I don't know. I'm live
Ray may or may not be live sometime. We'll find out. So
yeah. But hey, Jeff, just to confirm, are you not dreaming about grids every night? I mean, that's confusing.
I've been dreaming about grids every night for like 6 years. So.
Good. Glad we're on the same page. Okay.
Yeah. So it's all good. All right. We'll see y'all in about an hour for Focus on Focus.